we're on. Hello, everybody. All the 500 of you that have subscribed to my account over the past 6 years or so. I appreciate anyone interested in the videos I produce. That's, cool. I usually don't make blogs, but I kind of just wanted to today, just to talk about something that's been on my mind for a while. Most recently I started thinking about it a lot more, just kind of what's happened to me over the past 4 years and how odd, just the weird coincidences in life. Like, I'm sure a lot of you have experienced things, and I'd be really interested in hearing some of the things that you have experienced, in your life. But for me, it's happened so often that it's weird. It's almost like you could say the word fate in a way, but I don't lend myself to like such beliefs so easily. Like, I'm not gonna say it's fate. I'm just gonna say it's really interesting in the way things work out. Like, I find it. I guess. But first things first, though. Check out this fucking shirt, dude. It took me forever to fucking find this. I was fucking like. Apparently, they stopped selling it at Hot Topic. Rise Against is a pretty fucking awesome band, and I like wolves, so fucking it just works out because Rise Against rocks, and they had this wolf shirt, but they used to have it at Hot Topic, but apparently fucking they stopped selling it. And when I went there, I was really disappointed that I couldn't get it, and I've been waiting until one showed up on eBay, and sure enough, one did, and it happened to be in medium, and I'm like, dude, that's my size. I have to get this. And I paid a whole like $2 for it because I had like $10 in like eBay cash from like all the purchases I made over the past year, which was fucking awesome. But aside from all that, like, that has nothing to do with anything I wanted to say. I just wanted to bring that up because it's a fucking awesome shirt, in my opinion. But anyway, see, that's why I don't create blogs, because then I start fucking rambling, and like it'll be kind of edited up, so it's better because I just kind of go on, and then it really gets away from the point that I wanted to bring across. But if you like, me talking to you or whatever, like, I know I do it in our show when we have like me and Pon's show. That's kind of like us talking to you, but that's different because we kind of have a plan set in place about what we're going to talk about. Like with this, I'm kind of just like blogging, and that's not really me. But hey, if you like it, hey, tell me. I'll fucking make more of these. Like, if you want to hear what I have to say, that's fine. But anyway, back on topic. Just weird coincidences that like let me start off. Let me start at the very beginning. Okay. It makes more sense if I just go back to point one, which was about. It all started in 2008. That's where it began. Actually, it has to do with my friend Pon too, which is weird because we're good friends now. But anyway, a long time ago, back in 2008, which wasn't really that long ago, but it seems like it now. Pon was a friend of mine that I had in middle school. We were, good friends. We talked all the time at school and whatnot. We were like friends that probably could have been better friends, but the only problem was when we graduated middle school, we went to different high schools. So, like, in the town I live in, there was like 2 areas, and depending on what you were closer to, you went to one or the other. So I went to Hale, and he went to Central. So we actually didn't talk that much because after we had changed schools, like, AOL was just getting kind of cool. Like, nobody really had Instant Messenger. I actually didn't get it till 9th grade. So my only contact with him after we had changed schools was through Steam, and we never really went over each other's houses because we were so far away, and obviously my parents were lazy. They didn't want to drive, the 10 minutes to friends' house. Like, it was hard for me to get them to do things, I guess, especially my mom. Like, she's a great mom, but she's also kind of like lazy a little bit, so I was kind of like, it's understanding, whatever. I rode my bike to most places, but going to where he was going, that was probably a fucking 30, 45-minute bike ride, and me being like 12, I was like, I like you, but, I'm not going to ride 40 minutes to your house every fucking weekend or whatever, fuck that. My cat's coming in the door. Anyway, back on topic. Um, like we just stopped talking because our only contact was through Steam, which is gaming. I'm sure most of you know what that is. It's like video game soft, like it's like a host for other people's games started by Valve. But anyway, we talked through the friends chat, and what ended up happening was back in around like 2004 or so, the friends chat fucking crashed, and all your friends were removed, and you had to start off like at a blank slate, and it really sucked because it removed everybody. So basically, I had no contact with my friend Pond anymore. I'm like, that fucking sucks. But we weren't super close friends, so it wasn't like, oh no, like it was just kind of like, damn, that sucks. So anyway, fast forward 2008, whole high school career had gone by. I'd graduated in 07, and I was already out for about a year, already working full time at my job, and basically I was just going about my things, like just doing life. And what ended up happening was, now most of you probably know, is like I'm a furry. I'm interested in like anthropomorphic art, which is human animals. I like fucking costuming and all that shit. Now, here comes the unsubscribes. But anyway, aside from all that, like I was just interested in furry stuff, and I've probably actually been furry since probably 2004, since my 9th grade start of that. It was kind of like, wow, I found all that shit. It was like, this is fucking cool. All these people like have the same fucking interest. This is great. It's just like I started to get really into it. So that I was drawing, doing my art and whatnot and all that crap. Like, here, let me show you something. I've got an FA it's like DeviantArt but for furries, or fur fags. It's kind of like, it's a nerdy thing. Like, it's like the bottom rung of the nerd community. But anyway, I'm kind of a fan of werewolves, so I drew that shit. But anyway, I was into like furries and shit, and in about 08, like fucking, I'm just doing my thing, and one day on MySpace, because that was the shit back then, I fucking had a Facebook, but MySpace was still the primary source of communication. Like, Facebook was starting, but it wasn't like taking over anything yet. It was just like, oh yeah, I should use this because my other friends are using it too. The college ones, the cool ones. Because I didn't go to college, even though I do pretty well now, income wise. But my other friends were off college studying up to become like fucking accountants and shit. And anyway, I get this invite on fucking MySpace, and I look at it and I go, holy shit, dude. It's my friend fucking Pond. And this thing sat in my inbox for like 3 days. I didn't check it super often. Like, I was on there, but not like every fucking day. So it was just in my invites for friends for like 3 days. And somehow this guy fucking found me, And I was like, damn, dude, fucking Pond. And it was Sunday night. I had opened his account, and I looked at the fucking main, and I was like, I haven't talked to this guy in fucking 4 years. How cool is that? Like, this dude's like found me. I was like, that's awesome. So I opened this up. The first thing I fucking see on his profile, not to mention the fucking pandas that were like fucking big giant background GIF image of the pandas fucking rolling around and shit, like little pandas just doing a little dance and like rolling over and then doing a little dance and rolling over. So it's something weird. But anyway, I saw that shit, and I look over, and there's a huge fucking banner that says furry fucking pride. And I just was like, what? I was like, no, are you fucking kidding? I was blown away. Like, I was like, dude, we were like friends in like fucking like 4 years ago, and this guy's fucking, a furry too. I was like, are you serious? Like, I was like, no fucking, like, I was literally on the ground like, holy shit, dude. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that's fucking ridiculous, man. Like, are you serious? Like, are you, like, I couldn't believe it, I was just like, fuck, like, I don't know, man, it just blew me away, like, so I started talking to him. I was like, dude, listen, like, man, what's up? Like, we were, I think I added him on AIM immediately that night from his MySpace, and I was like, what is up, dude? Like, I've not talked to you. This is pretty awesome. I probably still have the AIM conversation saved, because I've always saved, like, epic conversations, for, like, because I fucking big on, like, obviously I'm big on documenting things because I like video recording all my, events and shit. But I documented that, and like we got in contact again, and we, so he told me basically when he found me, his friend Ben, who I also knew from middle school, happened to leave his middle school yearbook out, and for whatever reason he paged through it and remembered me and said, that guy was pretty awesome, I'm gonna fucking add him, I'm gonna look him up and see if he's around. And he did. And it just so happened we had like the same, like we're both furries. Like how cool is like it just blew me away. Like that shit was epic. Like I couldn't believe that a friend of mine happened to be a furry as well. It was just really weird because you don't come across furries that often. It's not something that's like commonplace. Because one, it's super nerdy. Two, it's kind of weird, and it's just like it's more of a fringe group. Like it's almost like Trekkies. Like if you were to find out your friend was a Trekkie, it's kind of the same thing. But nonetheless, we got in contact. We started hanging out again, and then I met his friend Corey, which was another guy that you've seen in numerous videos of mine. And I met him through him. It turns out Corey, as weird as this is how tight-knit apparently West Dallas is, which is where I grew up. Corey happened to know all my previous friends from my high school days. All of, pretty much every one of them. Like, number one, Corey's a social butterfly to begin with, so yeah, he's gonna know a lot of people. But the fact that he knew my primary friend group and like lived near him it just blew me away. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, really? Like, if you think about it, that's just like, what are the chances? What are the chances that you're gonna not only know one of my old friends, but know my current friends? Like, I was just like, holy shit, dude, that's fucking awesome. And I started talking to these guys. I'm like, you guys got to go to cons. And they did never cross their mind. Like, they didn't even know about cons. Like, Corey was also a furry. And basically, I was the one who brought him into the fandom. I'd already been to one con prior. I had been to Midwest Fur Fest 2007. And I went all by my lonesome. It was one of the other blogs I created on my other account. And it was just like, I explained all this to them, and they were dead set. Yeah, we gotta go. So now this is where it gets really weird. It starts to get like you think that's cool. Like if you think that's kind of an amazing, turn of events. Like this is where everything kind of goes. Oh my God, are you serious? Like, sorry to sound like stupid. Like that just sounds bad. But anyway, moving along, we're all getting prepped and ready to go. And we get to the date. It's November of 2008, and what ended up happening over the past couple months is I was looking for other furry friends, just because I only knew them, and they were just kind of really getting into it. Like they'd always been into furry, but not like super into furry. They were more like fringe because they were too shy to be part of the fandom, but yet they considered themselves furry. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like they were, I guess fringe is the best way to say it. And I was on a website called Pounce where you just either meet up for if you want some kind of relationship, or if you just want friends. And I was just looking for friends because I was kind of lazy with girls. Like I never really tried. If I basically said I'm not gonna outright seek a girl because that's just I was that guy who was like, no, I don't really want to spend the time and the money. It just made me feel like I'll find the right girl when I find the right girl. You know what I mean? Like I was just, I guess, a little selfish but kind of lazy at the same time. Like just like whatever, like who cares? But anyway, I had met this one chick online through Pounced, who also knew me through Facebook because we were also Therians. And she had added me, and we had talked for a bit, and I noticed, oh yeah, shit, you're from Brookfield. That's pretty awesome, whatever. But I kind of blew it off as just that, because at the time she had short hair, and girls with short hair usually don't appeal to me. It's just not attractive. It's just a preference, I guess. It was just kind of one of those things like, But she really didn't, pursue me either. We just kind of talked. Like, we were both Therians and we were local, but it was kind of like, Therian's like there's Therians and furry. Therian is more of a spiritual kind of belief, like you're in touch with an animal. At least it is for me. Like, it's not always spiritual. It's just more like you feel animalistic in a way. if that makes any sense. You're getting more with your primal side. That's like a super simplification. Like, you can look it up if you want to. But for me, at least, it's a spiritual thing. Anyway, we get to this con, and everybody's having a good time. It's been like, I think, one night in, and we stayed at like, this was like the ghettoest hotel. Like, we didn't even get a room in the main hotel. We stayed at some Motel 6, like a couple miles down the road. Like, nobody, like, we couldn't, number one, it was too expensive there at the time because nobody had the money. So we just stayed at this ghetto-ass hotel, which was, it was just awesome to begin with. Like, I had recorded this whole video, which is like one of the most epic cons I've ever been at. And that Saturday, when we drove back over there, it was the fursuit parade, and I wanted to be part of it because I had a faux suit. It was like a suit, but it was more like just a mask with a hood over it. A good mask at that, but just like, it wasn't really a fursuit. It was just kind of like a ghetto suit. But everybody said it worked, so I was like, all right. It had, hands that another friend of mine made for me, and feet that another friend of mine made for me, and a tail that I bought through a website, or actually eBay, but the people specialized in like tails like that. And I wore this in the parade, and I'm walking through the parade, and I get done. And when I get done with the parade, all of a sudden, my friend Colin comes up to me and goes, "Hey, someone here's to see you. There's a special lady looking for you." And I'm kind of like, "What the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, are you serious? Like, there's no girls looking for me. Are you serious? Like, I'm not really in contact with. I know like two that I actually talk to, and I've never actually tried to really pursue them. It was kind of like, dude, you're online. Like, you're not really, you're not authentic to me, at least. You know what I mean? But I was kind of interested. That I'm like, wow, someone's interested in finding me. Like, are you serious? Well, here's the weird part. As it turns out, that girl I had met online, that had short hair in her profile pictures, happened to be looking for me, because what ended up happening was, when I was in the parade, Corey was at the front of the parade, like right where the doors are, and she happened to be across the parade. Now, she was standing there, and Corey was standing there, and all of a sudden, she notices Corey, because Corey's like the most recognizable person. You can't miss the guy. Like, he is like, he just stands out. Like, number one, he's a social butterfly, so he knows everyone. He's like a central hub for people. I mean, I bet you a bunch of people watching the video have met him. You guys watching this, if you've been to a convention, you've probably met Eddie or Corey. Like, I know him as Corey because that's how I met him. But Eddie for some of you guys, because that's his con name. Anyway, she sees him and like kind of looks over and glances, and he notices that she took notice in him, so he looks and thinks about it, and they realize, holy shit, they know each other. And you're thinking, like, how does that work? Like, how does she know him, being from Brookfield and him being from West Dallas, completely different. They didn't go to school together or nothing. Apparently, 4 years prior to 2008, they had met on DeviantArt, because they both were furry as well. And Corey had actually ridden his bicycle all the way from West Dallas, the thing I was too lazy to do for my friend Pon. He rode his bike all the way to Brookfield, and that's like a good hour and a half. Like, we're not talking a quick 30-minute ride up the a few 20 blocks or so. We're talking like a while away. And he did this because they had met. They were both artists, and they wanted to hang out. And they, probably talked online a little bit. They kind of knew each other on a little bit of a personal basis. But Corey was gay, so he really didn't have interest in girls. And Sarah was seeing someone at the time, so it didn't matter. And they were just friends. And they had seen each other and started talking. And then as they were talking about, hey, we know each other, blah, 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 they mentioned that, hey, we're just waiting for Nolan to get done with the parade. And she goes, wait, is that the guy I know online? And then they're like, holy shit, yeah, it is. And apparently, when I come back over, I'm like, it's her. But she had long hair at the time because it had grown out. Her Facebook profile was old. Like, that shit was fucking ancient as hell. Like, her image on there was from like a year and a half prior, when she wanted to cut her hair short. So I met her. I'm like, wow, what's up? And we got to talking, right? So we're you know, hanging out and hitting it off, and shortly thereafter, you know, we've been together now for 4 years. I mean, if you think about it, like, as it, like, even weirder of a scenario, she, now let's go back. Remember Ben, the kid that left out his yearbook for Pond to find? She went to high school with Ben and knew Ben. So Ben and Corey both knew Sarah, and Ben also knew my friend Pond and me and Sarah. And I'm just like, that's fucking weird. And then to get even weirder, Sarah happened to know, they, like, she knew my cousin, who was currently going to school in Eau Claire, that she had gone to before she transferred back to Milwaukee. And they were in the same French class. They were friends on Facebook. That just blew my mind. Like, that was just like, whoa. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that was, I was like, holy crap. I was like, everybody, like, this fucking web of people just happen to all know each other. I'm like, I was just like blown away. Like, that was amazing to me. I couldn't believe that. I was like, wow. Like, it just, I was like, it was either like the weirdest coincidence that happened, or something was meant to be. It was just, I mean, like, I don't know if any of you have ever had something like that happen before, but when it does, it just blows your mind. Like, it literally makes you like think like, wow, was there like actual like a purpose for this, or was that just the best chance ever? More shit that has happened after me and Sarah were together for probably a year and a half, maybe a year. I don't even know how long. I'd been posting videos online. I didn't have many subscribers. My furry account was probably maybe 30 people. You know, 30 people max. It was probably mostly local people. But anyway, hang on a minute. We're gonna, I thank Joe for this, who I'm gonna bring up in my next story. He gave me this last weekend. He has a whole case in the fridge, but he handed me this. I didn't want to drink it then. I drank it now. Decent beer, not amazing beer. Hacker Shore, I guess. Original Oktoberfest. Decent beer. Now we're going to move down a level and go to some Red Dog. Really cheap quality Milwaukee beer. Like, oh, okay, the word's quality. I guess they use the word premium. It's not really good beer, but it's not Boxer. And in my opinion, it's better than like Genuine Draft or some MGD 64 or like High Life Light. Like, I enjoy regular High Life, but I can't drink it all the time. It's the same with this. I've always wanted to try this beer because as a child I'd gone to Summerfest, which is a music festival in Milwaukee, and I remember my dad bringing home little Red Dog bottle cap pins, and the eyes would like flash because they had a little battery in them. I thought that was cool, and I was like, one day I will try that beer, Dad. And he's kind of like, okay. And then I waited until I finally turned 21, and just last weekend I saw the beer at a local liquor store, and I'm like, holy shit, they still make it. Like, I didn't think they did. I thought it was just like one of those things that was like, oh, it ran for a little bit, and then no one gave a shit. But no, they still fucking make it. And I was like, oh, well, I have to fucking try this. So I bought a whole, like, 30-pack. And it's actually pretty good for cheap beer. I was like, it kind of tastes like shitty Heineken. And I like Heineken, so bam. But back on topic. All right, weird coincidences, number 2. So anyway, me and Sarah were together. I'd been posting videos, you know. I create my furry summarized videos of all the cons me and my friends go to. And not to mention my regular account, which also has other shitty, I guess, because I'm low self-esteem, sorry. Anyway, basically, I'd post all these videos online, and I had subscribers. I'm like, oh, that's cool, whatever. You know, people are watching me. That's awesome. And anyway, one day I'm at Cousins. Me and Sarah at Cousins. You know, we're going to get some food. And Cousins, for people who don't know what that is like a sub place. It's a sandwich shop for sandwiches. And I don't know why I, like, drew that out. Like, if I say a sandwich shop, it's a sandwich shop. Sorry, it must be the alcohol. But, anyway, we're there, we're waiting to get food, and all of a sudden I notice out of the corner of my eye, there's some fucking strange guy just off in the corner and just like staring at me, and I'm kind of like looking at Sarah, I'm like, is that guy watching me? And she's kind of like, I think he is. I'm like, wow, that's kind of weird. Like, I'm feeling kind of creeped out because there's this dude in the corner just staring at me and Sarah. So I look over at him finally, and then he looks at me, and he looks like really nervous. He walks up and goes, "Hey, um, I think I know you." And I'm kind of like, "Oh yeah?" You know, like, do you, like, okay, I don't know you, but yeah, sure. And I just kind of smile. Yeah. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm watching you on YouTube." And I'm like, "What?" I was just blown away. I'm like, somebody just came up to me and said, "Oh, I know you from the internet." And I'm like, I never had that happen before. I was just kind of like, "Okay, what's up, dude? Like, that's fucking awesome. Like, what are you watching? You know, like, what account?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm watching your 4WD account." And I'm kind of like, "Oh, all right, I get it. You're a fucking furry. I understand now. I know. All right, that's all right. That's cool, man. What's up?" And we started talking. I'm like, "How the hell did you, like, why, how did you recognize me?" He's like, "Well, I was outside waiting for the bus because I was coming home from school, and I saw your Dark Wolf plates on your truck." And I was like, "Well, that's really clever. I can't believe, that's really awesome." So he came in here to look for me, and he happened to see this guy, that he knows online, and that's got to be cool for him. So anyway, he started talking, and I'm like, "Well, where do you go to school?" He's getting home from school, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a senior right now at Nathan Hale." And I was like, "No fucking way." And he's like, "Yeah, man." I'm like, "Dude, I went to Nathan Hale." And he's like, "No shit." I'm like, "Yes." I was like, basically when I was a senior, he was a fucking freshman. So we actually were in the same school at the same time. And Joe, who you've seen in my videos, also knew some of my other friends. He knew my friend Alex, or Ike, and he knew because Ike was actually friends with his older brother, because his older brother was 1 grade below me. And I was just kind of like, "Damn, dude, small world, man." And it was just a third, or a second, I should say, a second incident where I was just kind of blown away. I was like, not as epic as the first, but it was like pretty awesome in that, like, I don't know, just one of those events where it's like, wow, made you really think. And it was just weird though, because I asked my, I found out later on where he worked, and it turns out he worked at a cousin's, and he met me in a cousin's. It was just kind of like, why, like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? Like, okay. And then anyway, we shortly thereafter decided, hey, you want to go to a con? But he couldn't, like, here's another. We're gonna sidetrack a little bit because I want to tell this story too, just because it's hilarious, and I'll kind of shorten it up a little bit because it doesn't need to be too long. But we just met Joe, and I thought he was, he was a shy kind of guy, kind of nervous, but as you get to know him, he warms up, and you kind of like, you realize, oh, dude, he's actually all right. He's just kind of like shy. Anyway, we were talking, and I'm like, "Dude, you want to go to a con?" Because he's like, "Yeah, dude, I've never been to a con." I'm like, "You have to go. Like, they're awesome. Anybody who hasn't gone to a furry convention is totally missing out. Like, it is literally party, drunk, and awesome. Like, it's just a ball of fun rolled up into a 3-day weekend, and it's amazing. Which I'm gonna post on my regular account. Um, Basically the best events over the last 4 years. This is what kind of inspired me to do this video, because I just wanted to sum everything, all the best things that have happened over the past 4 years, and every con I've been to. All the funniest moments, best moments of the convention. I should say conventions. But anyway, I asked the dude, I said, "Hey, Joe, you want to go to a con?" And he's like, "Yes, I would love to." But he couldn't get his parents' signature because, of course, he's 17 at the time. So he had no way to get his parents' approval. And I'm like, that fucking sucks. But then he told me, and me being fucking an idiot was just like more blinded by the excitement of the fact that this guy, another one of those weird coincidence kind of things, I was just kind of like, "You need to go." He was like, "I will find a way to go." So what he did was he took his brother's ID, because they look similar, and told his parents he was going to be at a friend's house that night or something. And he basically got out of school and was going to meet me, and we'd take him to Michigan, and not worry about it. But, like, if you're hearing that now, probably saying that has got to be the dumbest idea, because number one, he's a minor, and number two, you're taking him across state lines. Like, it was just kind of like, I guess I didn't think it through, but Anyway, this actually was FCN 2009, so if you watch that video, Joe is in it, but he was only in it for a day. And we get ready to get him, and we come to Hale, actually, and we meet him there, and he shows up, and it turns out that he had lost his wallet on the bus with his ID he was going to use, and the $200 he had saved. And I was like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? Now, it's common for Joe to lose a lot of shit because he's terrible with money, which is hilarious because this is the first time I meet the guy and he fucking loses all his shit. But I mean, it does suck. It sucks, but it was hilarious when you look back at it because he loses money all the time. Anyway, he lost his ID. I'm like, dude, that fucking sucks. Like, I still want to take you. You know, like you can ghost a con. Like, there's nothing we can really do, but I mean, you can still have fun and party with us, you know, whatever, dude. You get to still experience it, but just slightly toned down because you can't go to any of the events. You know, it'll just be mostly like HallCon or RoomCon, you know, like you'll be around furries and shit and have a fun time, but it won't be as fun as it could be. And he's kind of like, yeah, we'll still do that. Me not thinking that, oh, boy, this is dumb. Why are you doing this? But I'm trying to be nice, and I'm still, you know, over the fact like, damn, dude, we know each other kind of. So anyway, we take him across. We start driving. We're on our way to FCN that day, and all of a sudden he starts getting text messages like his mom's like not believing where he is because she called the parents' house like, where's this kid? And we're like halfway there, and he just shuts his phone off and gets really quiet, and I'm like, dude, what's going on? He's like, yeah, my mom's kind of freaking out, and she threatened to call the police. And I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, she doesn't buy it, and she says I'm truant, and blah, 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 because he had to go to school. That's why he wasn't at school Friday, and I think the school might have called. Like, I think we tried to, like, pass him off as sick or something. And the truancy officer didn't even give a shit, which was even more funny. So his mom was really mad. So they have no idea where he is, and he just stopped talking to his mom. And I'm like starting to get nervous now. I'm like, well, you know, and he's trying to blow it off, like, yeah, she won't do shit. She won't. Don't worry about it. And I'm just kind of like, fuck, man. Oh man, I'm like, now I'm getting nervous now. We finally get there late at night, and I'm like freaking out because his mom's like talking about the police, and he finally admitted where he was, and she's like, no fucking way, no, I'm coming to get you, you know. And he's just kind of like, she's bluffing, and everybody was just having a bad Thursday. Like, it was just a bad Thursday, Friday morning, you know. Or no, it was Friday. It was Friday night because I think we had went on Friday or some bullshit. But they had threatened to like fucking, like, I don't know, they were gonna get the police involved, and I'm freaking out thinking now I'm going to jail because I just took a kid across state lines or something, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh my god, like, I'm gonna go to jail, you know, like, whatever. Turns out though, like, his dad, which is hilarious, drove 4 hours because he thought it was funny that Joe was doing this. Like, he was just like, this is hilarious that he actually did this. He was like, this is a vacation from my wife, I think is the way he put it. And it was just funny because he showed up and he was like, you want to stay? You know, you want to just hang out? This is great. And Joe was kind of like, no, because he just felt too embarrassed. He's like, dude, I just met this guy and I ruined everything. I freaked him out and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I'm like, oh man, okay. And everything kind of cooled off after his dad took him. But I was still kind of nervous, you know, like, what if they get me in trouble? You know, like, the kid's fine, of course. Like, he didn't do anything because obviously it's just a con. It's like I murdered the kid or something. But, things kind of cooled off, and I still talk to Joe, and then his parents finally allowed him to go to MFF 2000 and fucking, was it 2010? Actually, he might have been a junior then because he was still in school. He had not turned 18 yet. I think he did. That was his senior year. But then his parents finally let him go to MFF 2009. Because I knew he was probably going to go anyway, because obviously he did before it. I was just kind of like, that's really funny. And ever since then, you know, I've been hanging out with Joe, and I was just like, that's just those weird coincidences that are just like, you know, it's just, how does that happen? You know, like, how do, you know, and it's just, everybody knows, it's just that Kevin Bacon theory or whatever, the 7 degrees, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever it is. Like, I was just, that kind of weird stuff blows my mind, you know. And, I don't know, man. It's owed all to really Ben and Corey, and I don't know, just I don't know, it's just weird, man. Okay, here's one edit. I had to stop my upload because I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. I forgot one big fucking event. Um, Now I told you about um, how I met my girlfriend, how I met another friend of mine named Joe. Well, there's another friend of mine named Alex, and you've seen him in my videos as well. And how we met was a little more interesting because now remember how Corey had basically him and Sarah kind of recognized each other because they happened to be at MFF and they had prior friendship, I guess, you know what I mean? Well, we were at I think it was FCN 2010 doing our thing, and it was the last day of the convention. And um, what happened was throughout the entire weekend, we were seeing this one kid that we jokingly said, "Hey, that guy looks like Corey." Like the whole weekend, just that guy looks like Corey, man. Like those guys are like the same. Like they look similar. It was the same, I guess, facial features for the most part. I guess the way they looked and acted, they both had like chin strap, and it's in the video. If you've seen my FCN 2010 video, it's in there. But the whole weekend we were seeing this guy, we were like, we gotta get those two next to each other. We gotta get them to stand next to each other and be like, "What's up?" But we didn't really get our chance until the very last day. Now, Sunday we were at the con suite because they opened it up for everyone, and I was kind of like, oh boy, yeah, all right, cool, sweet, free food. We're going in there, we're eating shit, and all of a sudden we noticed Corey went up to the front to get more food, and he happened to be right next to the guy that we were saying looks like him. And we hadn't actually told Corey which guy looked like him, but right then we're sitting there, and Sarah's like, "They're right next to each other." I'm like, "Are you serious?" And she's like, "Yeah." So I'm like, looking over, I'm like, "Dude, hey Corey," and then Sarah's like, "Hey Corey, hey baby Corey." And she starts yelling baby Corey because he's like the mini version. He's younger, so he looks, like the younger version of Corey. And as she's yelling baby Corey, he fucking turns around. Alex turns around and like looks at us, and he goes, "What's up?" And then we're like, "We think you look like him." And they kind of look at each other and go, "I don't know, I don't really see it." And I'm like, "Every motherfucker says you guys look alike, so don't even fucking lie." And like, Corey's like, "No, even though if Robert and Pond are gonna agree with you, fuck you." And like, they kind of denied it, but we started talking, and it turns out Alex, kid we just met at a con who just happened to look like Corey that me and Sarah happened to just see. Like, how weird is that? This fucking guy happened to be one of the guys. I used to go to these Scientology protests when Anonymous was doing their, Scientology shit, back in the day. And I was kind of like, apparently Alex had driven down because he lived in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and I was from Milwaukee. They drove down from Green Bay. Him and his friend group drove down to protest. So Alex was at these protests. I had actually basically kind of known Alex at the time, and like without actually knowing it was him, he recognized my wolf mask and goes, "Dude, were you at the Scientology protests in Milwaukee?" And I was like, "Holy shit, yeah." We started talking. I'm like, "Yeah, all my friends were there this time." I'm like, "I was the guy fucking recording," and I was like, "Dude, what's up?" And it like ever since then, like him and Corey started to like hang out more, and then now they're together, and I was just like, "Dude, like it's so weird," because if you think about it, like Corey helped me Corey like helped me get my girlfriend, and then Sarah, my girlfriend, helped Corey get his boyfriend, and I was just like, dude, and they've been together now for like what, 2 years? I couldn't believe it. I was just like, it's all like coming together, and then like the way Alex described it was that like it almost seemed like we were always friends, like we just hit it off so perfectly. It was just so weird. It makes you like literally think, like, how does that shit all work out? Like I was just blown away. I couldn't believe it. I don't know if you have any experiences that you've ever, you know, had that you would like to share. I'd be interested to hear them because type them as best you can, like video responses if you want, or if you can get them into the allowed amount for the fucking window for the text response, whatever they let you say in the 1,000 word limit, then do it. But I don't know, it's just like just weird shit like that. Like just actually last AC, it was kind of weird. We were driving home from AC, and my mileage on my new truck I just bought was about to hit 66,666, and I thought that was fucking cool, you know. I was like, I better tape this because I'm a nerd like that. I'm like, dude, I gotta videotape that shit. Like, that's just awesome. Like, I'm just gonna save this and blah blah blah. So I'm recording it, and when I got home, I wanted to, you know, watch the video, and I was gonna edit up the last convention, you know. So I put the file on my computer, and as I'm editing it, all of a sudden I notice that the video file where it hit 66,666 miles was video 66. And I'm like, that's fucking weird. And when I open it up, I realized, holy shit, I had set my cruise control to 66. And it's just like, damn, dude, like, that's fucking spooky. Like, I just couldn't believe. I was like, well, that's odd, you know? One of those, like, where you, it's kind of like where you see, like, oh, you see, like, 11:11 every night or something, you know? It's just kind of like that movie where everything's tied together. It's just fucking weird. It makes you like think like, well, what if this is like all, you know, there's like a purpose or it's all in your head or something, you know, like the Matrix. Oh no. I don't know, it's just cool. It's just one of those cool little synchronicities. That's the word I was looking for earlier. A synchronicity. Weird shit like that. But you know, it could be as simple as my little story about the odometer and the speedometer and the video file, but anything really. If you have something to add, hey, and let me know if you want to hear me ramble in like a blog like this. I will do more of these because they're way too easy for me not to. If you like to hear me talk, then fine, I will do more of these, you know, whatever. But that's about all I have to say, so I'm gonna end it here and say thank you for watching, and the show will be back spring. I think we'll do season 2. Season 1 kind of ended a little too short. Our work schedules didn't work out to where we wanted them to, me and Pond, so it was kind of really difficult to really work it out. So we said, well, we'll end it here. We'll start season 2 with a fresh new look, maybe create a new backdrop or something. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching. Comment, rate, and subscribe.